what we have behind me is a Cannondale CAD 2, a Martyn Ashton signature edition. Absolutely beautiful Cannondale. Some of the colours are a bit iffy. First of all, I will say, yes, I have put cling film over the seat and the grips because this didn't get built by me when this was first all built and put together. There's quite a few issues to resolve on it. One I've already resolved, which I'll go through in a second. But first of all, if anyone ever gets me any friends, or if I'm doing anything and it's got white grips, white saddle, anything like that, always, even in a bike shop, cling film the crap out of the, whether it's road bike handlebar tape, whether it's a saddle, standard grips. Well, this one went elsewhere to a professional establishment, let's just say that. And the grips after was filthy, marks on the seat. My friend who picked it up wasn't too happy. So it's come to me. It gets a little bit scary what I'm just about to show you. So there's no other way in explaining it. So I'm going to show you and then we're going to fix the issue. So let's just have a look. First off, when it first came to me, there was an issue with the wheel. Now the hub bearings was done, but what they failed to do was do anything with the free body bearings. So although there was a lot of play on the wheel itself, because it is running Hope pubs, just spin that around. So as you can see, it's running Hope pubs, so really easy to service. So they did the main hub body bearings, but they didn't do the free body bearings. Now the free body was going back and forth. I did put a short on probably about a week ago of the internals of when I pulled that apart, which I will link the short to this video, because I've had this in the living room for about a week now, probably if not a bit longer, because I've been doing the cheap bike build off, and obviously it's a bit of mismatch of colours, but what we are going to do, we are going to tone these colours down. So it's having a blue head set in there, blue stem. We're getting rid of some of the red off this. But the biggest issue is, can you spot it? Okay, maybe not. So I'll flip the camera around and explain. Well, now you can see it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Right, the funny story behind that is, well, let me sit back on my chair so I don't fall over. Literally, look at it. What in the Matrix is that? What in the goddamn Matrix is happening there? That didn't unwind, by the way. Right, I'll flip the camera back around and I'll give you a bit more context on what's going on there with that. So, yeah. Well, that's what that is. Right, so basically it went into an establishment, and to have a bottom bracket fitted and for it to be built up on collection, my friend basically pointed out and said, what's going off there? Like, you know, that's supposed to be all the way in. Because he knows about bikes, he knows everything, he knows what it should look like, how things go. He just don't have the tools, and he's a busy man, so he don't have the time. So like a lot of people, they just go, right, well, I get into the bike shop, they'll do it nice and quick. Well, the establishment basically said, oh, it's fine, there's a mil gap between the non-drive cup and the crank, so it'll be fine, there's no issues there. It was like, well, why ain't it gone all the way in? And they basically said, oh, well, what it is we only have the drive side tap. We don't have the non-drive side tap at the moment, so we was only able to tap the threads on one side of the bike. Well, he told me this, and I was like, anyone that's tapped a bottom bracket knows that any tap, regardless of what you use, kind of goes together, and you locate it into the bottom bracket, and it kind of centers itself, and then obviously you tap it from there. Otherwise you can't just use one side, because it's just not going to, you go in at an angle, or you just don't catch the threads right, and before you know it, you've just pulled everything out. I'll give you more of a run through on that in a minute. So what we're going to do, because it's getting quite dark and I want to at least do the bottom bracket today, get that fixed, and then I'll just do another video, because I'm swapping the headset and other bits. So this video is all about, basically, you're going to get shoddy work from bike shops from time to time. So, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, there's been no major damage in there. Honestly, you can't write this sometimes. Let's get it in the workshop. Let's open the bottom bracket. Let's pull it apart, and let's see what we're faced with. And we will run a correct tap through it from both sides, and hopefully refit all of that bottom bracket correctly and get this bike back on the road. Let's go from there. Another thing to keep an eye out for is that is a self-extracting cap. As you can see, that's not even screwed in. So not only is that not done right, or any of it for that example, but that's not also tight. So we need to tighten that before we undo it. So let's pull that apart. So, although they say it had a mil gap, I don't know if you can slightly see it, it's all around there. It has got a slight mark on the crank arm where it was catching. So, let's get the bottom bracket out. Oh, that's tight. I'll have to use. Woo! Right. Are we going to find the wrong bottom bracket in here? You know, because if the show's like a 68 and there's a 73 in there, maybe that's another reason why it didn't go all the way in, because it was tight. So it has been greased. Alright, let's pull out the drive side and then we'll have a look at the bottom bracket. So as you can see, the threads are relatively clean. Right, well, given how good the threads look, let's start investigating. Alright, let's have a look what we've got here. So it looks, so basically it is a 68mm bottom bracket shell. So what we actually got in it then, let's have a look. Oh, where's my rag? So we have got Oh, oh, there you go. Can anyone spot it? Just there. So that is, oh, let me turn around. So that's not going to work in this bike. Reason being, it's a 68E. So off the top of my head, the 68E essentially is a 73 mil bottom bracket shell. So by any means, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a full expert. Obviously, the cycling industry is massive, but the 68E. So the E is for the E-type front derailleurs that you get on a lot of, like, Mascot in the background is running one, and it's basically like a metal kind of, like a fitment, so to speak, for the front mech. So that would space that out by a couple of mil. Obviously, this bike don't run it anyway. So yeah, 68E, so that's not going to fit. So all that's going to happen is when that goes on, that bottoms out. And for example, I flip around the camera and I'll offer that up to the frame, and I guarantee that's still sticking out by quite a lot. So let me flip it round. Right, if I do my best to hold that there. Right, so I've got the bottom bracket there. So what I'll do is, if I can get the camera angle right, so line it up there. Yeah, I'll do it. So, because I guarantee, take that off, I guarantee that on its own, actually quite smooth, to be fair. Jiggling all over the place on the camera, I apologise. So there you go, look, all by hand, that's going all the way in. And it looks quite straight. Well, it does look straight, to be fair. So the issue is, wrong bottom bracket. Well, there we are. There we are. I'm not going to name and shame, because I'm not that type of guy. And I'm not going to slag anyone off. Obviously, two things wrong with it. One, if you're replacing the bearings in the back wheel, fitting the cassette, you probably should have felt if there was any movement. Putting it in the bike, you'd have probably then had to have done your second checks as well. Maybe it was a new mechanic, you know, maybe he's not got a lot of experience, you know. Everyone's got to learn at the end of the day. So everyone starts somewhere. Everyone starts somewhere. Obviously, the bottom bracket, again, benefit of the doubt, because it's a 68E. Most people would say, oh, it's a 68, you know, 68 by 113, that's what I need straight out the box. Put it in the bike. But you would have noticed that you'd have known that the non-drive side cup wasn't going in. So, you know, benefit of the doubt. It could have been a Friday bike. It could be an apprentice. It could, like I say, someone's got to learn somewhere. However, you know, there is a point of, you know, second check, sign off, you know. It just physically not looking right and going up, you know, to someone else, oh, I could just have a look, you know. Yeah, well, it is what it is. So I'll get the correct bottom bracket, a proper 68. Remember, there is a difference between the 68 and the 68E. The E is for the E-type fit, and essentially if you just fit that straight into a bike, it kind of measures it like 73 essentially. So generally speaking, you could probably use that in a 73 mil bottom bracket shell, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it'll throw the chain line out. I just know that doesn't work. And I'll tell you why I know, and I'm going to be honest, right? is quite a few years ago, I didn't know about the E, and I pulled the bottom bracket out and I fitted it in the bike, and I had the exact same problem. And I looked at it and went, that's not right. But then I looked into it and then realised and went, oh, okay, there is a difference, and then learned from there. That's why right at the beginning of the video, I was like, maybe there's a wrong bottom bracket. Oh, the dog's gone crazy again. But yeah, it is what it is. But that's over and done with now. Right, I'll get the bottom bracket. Like I said, I've already sorted the hub. We've got loads of bits to swap out on this bike. We've got a sticky front brake to resolve as well, because that's it was given back to my friend. So, and I will say, Joe, if you're watching this, I'm going to fix all your crap and I'm going to get your bike back to you. On that note, hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope you all have a great week, and I shall see you. I'm at work now for the next 2 days, and then I'm off and I got stuff to do, and my belly's still feeling a bit iffy from yesterday's helicopter trip as well. So yeah, join me back next weekend, or this coming weekend, and we'll strip all the bits down. I'll get the bottom bracket, the right one, and then obviously show you all putting it in. So thanks for watching. If you got this far, I appreciate everyone that subscribes and supports the channel. Love you all, man. Have a great week.